All right, everyone, get ready, because today we're going deep on, well, how to build confidence when you're learning English. And you know what's really cool about this deep dive? Our source material is actually a podcast script. It's called How to Talk About Building Confidence in English. So yeah, this is like a total meta deep dive.
Ooh, that's interesting. A podcast script. So we're basically peeking behind the curtain of another podcast, huh?
Totally, right? And this script, it doesn't just tell you to be more confident,
Right.
It actually gives you the words and phrases, like the tools you need to actually talk about your language journey with more confidence.
I like that. That's a good approach because it's not always obvious how to actually put that confidence into words, is it?
No, not at all.
So, okay, I'm curious. Why is talking about your confidence so important in the first place?
Well, the script points out all these benefits, and they're pretty convincing. Like, they say that confidence can lead to personal growth, stronger relationships, even more success in your career.
That makes sense. When you feel good about your English, you're more likely to put yourself out there, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's networking or presenting or just having a casual conversation.
Yeah, and the script really emphasizes this idea of mindset, which I think is so key.
Mindset, yeah. Like your attitude and beliefs about your abilities.
It's like confidence isn't just something you have or you don't have. It's something you can actually develop, like a muscle.
I like that analogy.
Right. And the script even suggests using affirmations to help you shift to a more confident mindset.
Oh, affirmations. That's interesting. You mean like saying positive statements about yourself and your abilities?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried using affirmations?
I have, and sometimes I'm a little skeptical, but honestly, I've found that they can be surprisingly helpful, especially when I'm feeling stuck or a little doubtful. I try to focus on, my past successes and things that I'm good at.
That makes total sense. It's like you're reminding yourself of all the evidence that you can do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about shifting that internal dialogue.
Okay, and another big idea from the script is this idea of comfort zones.
Comfort zones, okay.
And they say that you absolutely have to step outside of your comfort zone if you want to grow, which, that can be a little scary.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it's so true, right? You have to kind of push yourself a little bit. Actually, you know what? I remember when I first started learning a host speaker's target language, I was terrified to speak. I was so nervous. But I knew I had to just go for it.
I bet that was tough. What helped you get past that fear?
Well, I found this amazing language partner. They were so patient and encouraging, and we'd meet up every week to practice. And each time, I would challenge myself to use a little more host speaker's target language. And honestly, it was amazing. Every time I kind of stumbled through a conversation, I felt my confidence grow a little bit more.
That's fantastic. I love hearing that. It sounds like you really put yourself out there and it paid off.
It did, yeah. And that's exactly what this script encourages. In fact, they even give you tons of phrases you can use to talk about stepping outside your comfort zone and facing those fears.
Oh, I like that. So they're giving you the words, the actual language to describe what you're going through.
Exactly. And it's so helpful because sometimes you just don't know how to express those things, especially when you're still learning.
Right. It's like having a cheat sheet for those tricky conversations.
Yes. And they break down the phrases into different categories too, like phrases for describing your journey, for sharing your strategies, even for asking for advice.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, it's really well organized.
And I bet it's helpful for those moments when you want to reach out for support, right?
Totally. And then, of course, they have phrases for celebrating your progress, which is so important.
Celebrating progress, absolutely.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in what we haven't mastered yet,
Right, we forget to pat ourselves on the back for how far we've come.
Yeah, and the script really reminds us to do that.
That's great, because acknowledging those wins, even the small ones, can be a huge confidence boost.
I totally agree. It's like you have to celebrate those victories along the way to stay motivated, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking of staying motivated, the script also gives some really practical tips for building confidence in general.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of those tips?
Well, they talk about setting small, achievable goals.
Okay, I like that already.
Which I think is huge because it's so much easier to stay on track when you're not overwhelmed by this massive goal of becoming fluent.
Right. It's like breaking down a big project into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. And then they also talk about the importance of self-care, which can be easy to forget when you're pushing yourself to learn a new language.
Self-care is so important.
It is, right? Because it's easy to burn out. So taking breaks, doing things you enjoy, just being kind to yourself, that can make a huge difference.
It's about recognizing that language learning is a journey, not a race, right?
Exactly. And it's supposed to be enjoyable, too.
Yeah.
And then they also talk about facing your fears, which we touched on this a little earlier. But they go even further and suggest specific strategies, like recording yourself speaking English,
Oh, that's a good one.
or even joining a conversation group, putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I can see how those would be really helpful, even though they might be a little scary at first.
Right. It's all about gradually exposing yourself to those situations that might feel a bit intimidating at first.
But those are the situations where you're going to learn the most, right?
Exactly. It's like that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway.
I love that saying.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they talk about celebrating your progress, which we've talked about, but they really emphasize the mindset shift of recognizing and appreciating your wins, no matter how small.
Right, like giving yourself credit for all the effort you're putting in.
Exactly. And they even give you those great phrases, like, I'm really proud of myself for accomplishment.
Those are good.
Right. It's like giving yourself a little pat on the back for all your hard work.
Exactly, you deserve it.
Okay, and while the script focuses on the positive, it also addresses some common pitfalls that can sabotage our confidence.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, they talk about things like comparing yourself to others.
The comparison trap.
Right, and how that can be so detrimental to your self-esteem
Yeah.
because everyone learns at their own pace,
So true.
and there's no right or wrong way to progress.
It's such a common trap to fall into, though, isn't it? Especially with social media, you see all these amazing polyglots speaking like 5 languages fluently.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy to feel like, ugh, why am I so slow?
Yeah, I've been there.
Me too. But the script reminds us that everyone's journey is different.
Exactly.
And instead of feeling intimidated, we can actually learn from those successful language learners.
Right. What are they doing that's working for them? Maybe there are some strategies we can adapt for ourselves.
That's such a good point. And the script also warns against negative self-talk, which can be a real confidence killer.
Oh, yeah. Negative self-talk can be so insidious.
It really can.
It's like you're constantly putting yourself down, even when you're making progress.
Exactly. So they encourage us to catch those negative thoughts
Yeah.
and consciously replace them with more positive and encouraging ones.
I love that. It's like retraining your brain to focus on the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like instead of saying, I'm terrible at English, you could say, I'm making progress every day, and I'm proud of myself for putting in the effort.
Much better.
Right. It's all about being your own cheerleader and focusing on your strengths and your accomplishments.
I like that, being your own cheerleader. And speaking of accomplishments, the script encourages learners to actually embrace the fun, creative side of language learning.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Like they suggest using analogies to explain things, which I think is brilliant.
Analogies, yeah, they're so helpful.
Especially when you're trying to grasp like abstract grammar concepts.
Totally.
It's like you're building a bridge between something you already understand and something new.
Exactly. And it makes learning so much more enjoyable.
Right. It's not just about memorizing rules anymore. It's about understanding the logic behind them.
I love that.
And it reminds us that language isn't just about, grammar and vocabulary. It's about expressing yourself, connecting with others, and having fun with it.
That's a great point. So, wrapping up our deep dive into this script, I have to say it's given me a whole new perspective on building confidence in English. It's not about sounding perfect or speaking flawlessly. It's about embracing the journey, celebrating those small wins, and using language as a tool to connect with the world around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This script provides such a practical and empowering framework for anyone who wants to boost their confidence in English. And it really emphasizes that confidence isn't a destination. It's something you cultivate every step of the way.
And that's what I love about it. It gives you the tools and the mindset to actually make progress. So, dear listener, as you continue on your English learning adventure, remember this. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you try a new phrase, every time you celebrate a victory, you're building confidence. Keep pushing yourself, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
Beautifully said. And remember, confidence isn't just about fluency. It's about using language to express yourself authentically and connect with others. So go out there, have those conversations, share your thoughts and ideas, and embrace this amazing journey of language learning.
I love that. And hey, maybe this deep dive has inspired you to think about your own language goals or try out some of those cool phrases and tips we discussed. Whatever you do, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun with English. Until next time, happy language learning. And they talk about setting small, achievable goals, which I think is so important because it's so much easier to stay motivated when you're not like overwhelmed by this huge goal of becoming fluent.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you just get discouraged because it feels so far away.
Exactly. And when you achieve those smaller goals, it's like you get this boost of confidence and it kind of keeps you going.
Totally. And the script also really emphasizes the importance of self-care, which can be easy to forget, I think, when you're really focused on learning a new language.
Self-care. Yeah, so true. Like you get so caught up in studying grammar and vocabulary
Hmm.
that you forget to take breaks and just relax and recharge.
It's so important, though, because if you burn yourself out, you're not going to enjoy the process.
Right. And the script reminds us that language learning, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I like that analogy.
Right. And it's supposed to be fun too.
Definitely.
Okay, and they also talk about facing your fears, which we kind of touched on this earlier. But they go even further and suggest like specific strategies, like recording yourself speaking English. Have you ever tried that?
I have, actually, and it's kind of awkward at first.
It is, right. It's like you hear your own voice and you're like, who is that?
But it's really helpful for identifying areas where you need to improve.
Yeah. Or even joining a conversation group.
Oh, that's a good one. I can see how that would be both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Right. Because you're putting yourself out there. But it's such a valuable experience because you get to practice with other learners and make mistakes in a safe environment.
And you get to learn from each other, too.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, right? Gradually exposing yourself to those situations that might feel a bit intimidating at first.
Yeah, but those are the situations where you're going to experience the most growth.
Like they're the biggest learning opportunities.
For sure.
It's like that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Oh, that's such a good saying. It's so true, though.
It is. And speaking of feeling the fear and doing it anyway, the script also talks about celebrating your progress, which we've mentioned a few times already. But they really emphasize the importance of like the mindset shift, recognizing and appreciating those wins, no matter how small they might seem.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in what we haven't mastered yet, and we forget to acknowledge how far we've already come.
Yeah, totally. And I love that they give you all those phrases, like, I'm really proud of myself for...
Those are great because they give you the language to express that self-appreciation.
Right. It's like giving yourself permission to celebrate those victories, big or small.
Exactly. And those celebrations, they fuel your motivation to keep going.
I totally agree. And speaking of motivation, the script also addresses some common pitfalls that they can sabotage our confidence.
Oh, yeah, those sneaky confidence killers. Like what?
Well, they talk about comparing yourself to others, which can be so detrimental.
Ugh, the comparison game. It's never a good idea.
No.
Because everyone learns at their own pace and, there's no right or wrong way to progress.
Right. And it's so easy to get caught up in that trap, especially with social media.
Totally. You see all these amazing polyglots speaking like 5 or 6 languages fluently.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, how do they do that? And then you start feeling bad about yourself, like, why am I so slow?
I've been there. It's so easy to fall into that negative spiral.
It is. But the script reminds us that everyone's journey is different. And instead of feeling intimidated by those successful language learners, we can actually learn from them.
Right. It's about reframing those comparisons. Instead of seeing them as a threat, see them as inspiration. Like, what are they doing that's working for them? And how can I adapt those strategies for my own learning?
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
And they also warn against negative self-talk, which we all know can be a huge confidence killer.
Oh, yeah. Negative self-talk is the worst. It's like this little voice in your head that's constantly putting you down.
Yeah, and it can be so hard to shut it up.
It really can.
But the script encourages us to catch those negative thoughts.
Yes. Catch them before they spiral out of control.
Exactly. And then consciously replace them with more positive and encouraging ones.
It's like you're training your brain to focus on the good stuff.
Yeah, and to be more kind to yourself.
Which is so important.
It is. Like instead of saying, I'm terrible at English.
Right, that's not helpful at all.
Yeah, you could say something like, I'm making progress every day and I'm proud of myself for putting in the effort.
Much better. That's the kind of self-talk that will actually boost your confidence.
Exactly. And, the script also encourages us to embrace the fun, creative side of language learning.
Oh, that's so important.
It is, right? It's like we get so caught up in the rules and the grammar that we forget to just play with the language.
I know. It's supposed to be enjoyable.
Exactly. And they even suggest using analogies to explain things, which I think is brilliant.
Analogies. Yeah, I love using analogies.
Too. They're so helpful, especially when you're grappling with like abstract grammar concepts.
Totally. It's like you're taking something complex and making it relatable, you know?
Yeah, like instead of just memorizing a rule, you're actually understanding the logic behind it.
And that makes learning so much more engaging.
Right. It's not just about memorizing facts anymore. It's about understanding the language on a deeper level.
And that's what leads to real fluency.
I totally agree.
And that makes the whole learning process so much more enjoyable.
Right. Like you're not just studying, you're actually playing with the language.
Exactly. And it reminds us that language isn't just about, rules and structures. It's about expressing yourself. It's about connecting with others and having fun with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So wrapping up our deep dive into this awesome script,
Yeah.
I have to say it's given me like a whole new perspective on building confidence in English.
Yeah.
It's not about sounding perfect or, speaking flawlessly. It's more about embracing the journey and celebrating those small wins along the way.
Yeah, and using language as a tool to connect with the world around us.
Exactly.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This script really does provide such a practical and empowering framework for anyone who's learning English and wants to feel more confident. And it really emphasizes that, confidence isn't a destination. It's something you cultivate every step of the way.
And that's what I love about it. It gives you the tools and the mindset to actually make progress. So, dear listener, as you continue on your English learning adventure, remember this. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you try a new phrase, every time you celebrate a victory, you're building confidence. Keep pushing yourself, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
Beautifully said. And remember, confidence isn't just about fluency. It's about using language to express yourself authentically and connect with others. So go out there, have those conversations, share your thoughts and ideas, and embrace this incredible journey of language learning.
I love that. And hey, maybe this deep dive has inspired you to revisit some of your own language goals, or maybe try out some of those awesome phrases and tips we discussed. Whatever you do, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun with English. Until next time, happy language learning.